he's such a flagrant, toxic narcissist that he wants to take down the entire democratic system with him if he goes. But he's such an unreflective person, and he simply has no sense of decency and no sense of responsibility.
Bruce Springsteen just called out Donald Trump in one of the most fiery speeches of his career. But instead of addressing the criticism, Trump unleashed a Twitter tirade, calling Springsteen washed up. What did Springsteen say that struck such a nerve? And why did Trump's response only make things worse for him?
And I don't know what that's going to mean, but we'll find out shortly.
I mean, if you look at the state of America today, if you look at some of the language used in this election campaign, would you say that you're proud to be born in the USA, to quote your most famous song?
Very dangerous. He does have a lot of people's ears, and I don't think he's going to go quietly into the, gently into the good night. I think he's going to make a big a mess as he can.
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
If your father, with whom you had a very troubled relationship, was alive today, do you think he would be tempted to vote for Donald Trump?
That's a good question. If he voted at all, I'm not sure. I don't know.
What about your mother? Would she be in love with Hillary Clinton as a candidate?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. My mother, who when I was very young, I know was very democratic. And the words that he's been using over the past several weeks really are an attack on the entire democratic process.
And is that dangerous?
Yeah, it is.
Why did Bruce Springsteen, a rock legend with no political seat or official platform, manage to strike a chord that made Donald Trump look like he'd bitten into a lemon? The answer, ironically, lies in the very thing Trump claims to understand best: the working class. During his speech, Springsteen didn't hold back, calling Trump out for his exaggerated self-promotion as a man of the people. Springsteen used what he knows best, truth, and let it rip. He called Trump's rhetoric a betrayal, slamming him for pretending to stand with workers while making policies that left many of them worse off. It wasn't finger-pointing for the sake of spectacle.
Would you say that you're proud to be born in the USA, to quote your most famous song?
Well, yeah, and I don't know what that's going to mean, but we'll find out shortly.
I mean, if you look at the state of America today, if you look at some of the language used in this election campaign.
America's a place that still has an enormous amount of wonderful qualities about it, I mean, I just love the country itself. I always have.
Springsteen spoke like someone who's lived it, or at the very least, has spent decades singing every note of it. Springsteen's connection to working Americans is undeniable. Look at his music. Born in the USA isn't the simple patriotic anthem some think it is. It's raw and angry, a protest song about the struggles of Vietnam vets and blue-collar Americans who were left behind. Then there's The Ghost of Tom Joad, dripping with imagery of migrant workers and jobless families scraping by on what little they have. These songs haven't aged. They've only grown more relevant, making Springsteen an authentic voice for everyday struggles. And what does Trump croon about? The Art of the Deal, an anthem of excess sung from a penthouse gold-plated enough to blind you. Here's the thing. Studies consistently show that cultural icons, like musicians, are often perceived as more genuine than political figures. Why? Because artists don't rely on campaign slogans. They tap into emotion, shared history, and lived experiences. Springsteen is denim jackets and scruffy boots. Trump is high-rise towers and private jets plastered with his own name.
They are persecuting people for using their right to free speech and voicing their dissent. This is happening now. There's some very weird, strange, and dangerous shit going on out there right now. In America, the richest men are taking satisfaction in abandoning the world's poorest children to sickness and death.
If Springsteen represents the diner counter, Trump represents the overpriced cocktail bar, complete with a velvet rope outside. So when the boss speaks up, it stings in a way Trump can't shake off. And Trump? Oh, he tried. But his Twitter response revealed more about his insecurities than it did about Springsteen's relevance. Believe me, the meltdown that followed was nothing short of spectacular, and we'll get into that next. Trump's reaction to Bruce Springsteen wasn't just a back and forth, it was a spectacle, and not in a good way. In his usual fashion, Trump hopped on Twitter and let loose. He took aim at Springsteen, calling him a washed-up musician, and throwing in one of his infamous closing zingers, "Born in the USA hole." Subtle? Not exactly, but the real problem wasn't the insult. It was how completely Trump missed the point of Springsteen's criticism. Rather than tackling the core issues, the struggles of working-class Americans that Springsteen highlighted, Trump went straight for the personal attack. It's a move straight out of his political playbook. Undermine the messenger rather than engage with the message. This isn't exactly new territory for Trump. Think about the NFL kneeling protests or the Greta Thunberg feud. When faced with criticism, Trump doesn't actually address it. He throws out nicknames and vague disparagements. Experts have pointed out that he does this intentionally. It's a strategy to control the narrative. By shifting attention away from the issue at hand, he stays on offense, never on defense. But this time, it didn't work. Instead of owning the conversation, Trump's tweets came across as petty, even desperate. Calling out a cultural icon like Springsteen, whose decades-long career is rooted in championing the very people Trump claims to represent, felt tone-deaf. Not to mention, the washed-up musician insult clearly backfired when fans immediately pointed to Springsteen's sold-out worldwide tours and still relevant music catalog. Here's where it actually gets embarrassing for Trump. While Springsteen was earning praise for speaking up for struggling Americans, Trump's Twitter outburst felt like a tantrum, a public meltdown in 280 characters or less. By resorting to insults like "born in the USA hole," Trump only reminded everyone why Bruce's authenticity hit so much harder than his bravado. Springsteen is someone people believe because he talks about real lives and shared struggles. Trump's attempt to dismiss him made his own image look weaker, not stronger. And really, if you have to yell louder to be heard over a musician, maybe the problem isn't the music, it's your message. Springsteen's clash with Trump feels less like a feud and more like a mirror held up to America. On one side, you have substance, decades of working-class anthems grounded in empathy and lived experience. On the other, showmanship, loud promises that Springsteen himself called magic beans. This isn't just about two public figures. It's about what Americans value: authenticity or spectacle, leaders or brands. It's worth asking, who really speaks for the people? Let us know what you think in the comments, and who knows, this probably won't be the last time culture and politics collide in a headline-making showdown.